Good morning, YouTube. Happy Monday, everybody. How is everyone? I hope that you're all well. I'm coming to you from my car. I just dropped off Matthew, and I got everybody where they needed to be for the day. And I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna take a little nap after I put on some laundry and run the dishwasher, because that's just how it is. So I thought that I would just pop on here today because it's been in my mind and my heart lately, and it always is, that I really think a lot of us would be happier if we practiced more gratitude. And I know that a lot of us do. But I think sometimes it's easy to get lost in our feelings, and we tend to forget the small things. And we really don't see how lucky we are, even in the moment when it seems like all is lost or we don't have it that good. Everybody's got days where they're feeling down, and that's okay. Just don't get lost in it. And a way that you don't get lost in it is to practice gratitude. So I know that it sounds trite, and I know that it sounds corny at times, but really this has helped me tremendously in my life. To share with you a little bit about me, I've dealt with anxiety and depression pretty much for my whole life. I also suffer from I always mess this up, post-traumatic stress disorder from, a number of different traumas that I endured. But, when I think back on it, do I wish that things had been easier? Of course, I'm not going to lie and tell you that I don't. But I also don't think that I would change much, because it made me who I am. And I'm a very empathetic, caring person, not to pat myself on the back too hard. And I really have a higher emotional intelligence than a lot of folks. And that's not a knock on anyone, so please don't take it that way. The downside to that is I'm also very sensitive, and those of you who are very sensitive, you know that that's a double-edged sword. It's great because it makes you more empathetic, but that means that you feel things very deeply sometimes, and that's problematic sometimes. So, getting back to gratitude, for me, I've struggled quite a bit with, finances in my life. I grew up being raised by a single mom. I wouldn't say that we were necessarily poor, because we did live in a house. My parents bought a house in 1977, and it was a fixer-upper. It was built in 1945. A lot of what was there was still original to the house when it was built, and my father had all these wonderful aspirations of renovating the house. Unfortunately, though, he passed away in a car accident when I was 4, so he left a lot of things undone. So I grew up in the house pretty much the way that he left it. And it wasn't perfect, but my mom, she made it homey as possible. And a lot of it was run down. But, I didn't really mind it that much because it was home. I had a comfortable bed, and I had a room of my own with a phone and a TV in it. We didn't have the best furniture, but that was okay. We made do with what we had. We always had food on the table. My mother, she also raised me to be very spiritual, and she always raised me to be mindful of everything that we have, and what we have is a lot to someone, even if it doesn't seem like it is to us. She always raised me to help those who are less fortunate. She would feed anybody that was hungry that would come to the door, and that includes animals too. She hated to see people, be in need, be hungry. She would never let anybody that she loved or knew go hungry. She hated to see a child in need who needed clothes. She helped many people in her life. So, I feel that that's important, to really see what you have and to be grateful for what you have in your life. Like I said, there's going to be days where just some things just suck, and I'm always going to keep it real with you. There's going to be some days where you do feel sorry for yourself for a hot minute, and that's okay. Just don't get lost in that minute. For me, like I was telling you, I live in an apartment in a 3-family house. Once at one time, I'm looking at it, it was a really big single-family house, and then at some point it was divided into 3 apartments. Ours is the largest apartment in the home. It has a loft upstairs, which is great. My son has a bedroom up there. It's huge. It's got a hallway, and then it has 2 little storage areas across from it. So that's where I keep like my Christmas decorations and like the things that I use here and there. Downstairs, it has a good sized living room and a fake fireplace just for decoration. I think at one point it may have been a fireplace because there's a chimney above it. And then there's a smaller bedroom, which my sister has, and then my daughter has the master bedroom. She and I and Roman, we share this big, huge closet that she's got in there. It runs the length of the whole wall, and it is lined in cedar, which is awesome. And we have a decent-sized kitchen. We had all new cabinetry. Well, we didn't. The landlord had all new cabinetry, backsplash, and countertop installed in the kitchen area before we moved in. It's great with countertop for cooking. I have a lot of storage. I can fit my freezer. I have a dining room table that seats 6. A china cabinet. I have my washer and dryer. It's got a back door to it. What else? A really nice sized bathroom. We only have one though, and that's okay. It is not the most modern, even though they did some updates to the bathroom and the kitchen. It still has paneling in the living room, paneling upstairs, paneling in my sister's room that's painted, has like those, I'm not even sure what it's called, but it's a drop ceiling. You know, they did have some newer carpet installed, which was nice. The backyard is not that great. It's all patio, which is okay, but it doesn't have any trees to provide shade. And I do have to share it with one of my neighbors, and that's all right. You know, there's some aesthetic issues outside, but I tell you what, do I miss the home that we lived in before? And that's a story for another time. Of course I do. It was beautiful. It was a whole house, and we paid $600 less for it. But at the time, which was almost 2 years ago, we were trying to find a home for us to live in town so we didn't have to uproot the kids. And rentals in this area, and I know across the country also, were very, very scarce, and rents are high. They're higher now than they were when we moved in 2 years ago, and I'll tell you what we pay for it, and you're probably going to fall off your seat. We pay $2,500 a month, and the only things that are included are water and sewer, which is a godsend because that hasn't been included in any of the rents for the homes that I've had in the past. Well, let's say Gigi is 16, so 14 years, unless it was an apartment complex. So, you know, that is a good thing. You know, I'm very grateful that we were able to find this home. You know, we looked at a couple others that were out of town, and I was very worried because Gigi was going to start high school actually a couple days after we moved in, and I didn't want to have to uproot her. I didn't want to have to uproot Matthew. You know, at the time my sister was working at Wendy's, and we've lived in this neighborhood for most of their lives, all of their lives actually, and they're used to it. So it was very important for me to keep us here. So there's some trade-offs that you make. You know, like I said, is it the most glamorous home? No, but it's filled with love, you know, and in that sense, it's priceless. You know, we're in our neighborhood, we're around their friends, we're around everything that we know. They each have their own rooms. Ro and I still do not have our own bedroom. Someday we will. He's very understanding. Fortunately, I've been doing this all their lives, so it's okay. You know, we have a very comfortable pull-out couch that we sleep in, and we have dressers. I have one in my sister's room, and then we have one under our spiral staircase, which I will show you the house one day when it's a little bit straighter. Ro has one under our staircase, so we do have enough room for everything, which is awesome. You just have to be a little bit creative with your space. So, you know, the other thing too is, you know, like, we have nice furniture, in my opinion. Most of it, however, is secondhand. But that's okay. You know, it's not perfect. It's very homey and comfortable, though. I think it's pretty. It's sort of like country almost like a grandma's attic kind of thing, because I like my tchotchkes. I love lace. I love soft colors. Not too into anything modern. You know, I love that antique look. So it makes me happy, and it's very comforting to me. It's my sanctuary. I'm an introvert. I'm a homebody. And the kids, for the most part, like it too. They get to have a little bit more say with their rooms. So, you know, there are times where it's been a struggle to pay this rent because it is so high. Roman works 2 jobs. He works about 60 to 70 hours a week. I am so grateful for him and the fact that he does that. A little bit about me. I don't think that I explained it before. I had an accident almost 3 years ago at work, and unfortunately it damaged my hand and my wrist, my right hand and my right wrist. And even though I went through physical therapy and I had some surgery, I have permanent damage. I can't feel from my fingertip to about halfway down my 3 middle fingers. My hand will go numb at times. Then I developed trigger finger, my middle finger. During my recovery, I'll get pain in the center of my hand. I drop things quite a bit. It makes it hard to hold on to things. So I can no longer be a dental assistant, which I was for 22 years, and I do miss it. I also suffer, I hate this little mark that I have here, sorry guys. Anyway, I'm sorry, I digressed. I also suffer from a number of chronic health conditions, which some of them I've been managing for quite a long time. I do have fibromyalgia. I've had that since my late 20s. That, you know, it ebbs and flows. Some days it's worse, and some days it's okay. Sometimes I don't even know that it's an issue for me. As I'm getting older, though, it's becoming more of an issue for me. I'm about to see a rheumatologist to help me out with it. I'm starting to have some arthritis in my neck, and I believe in a couple other areas, and that makes things hard and uncomfortable. I suffer from chronic migraines. I get migraines that sometimes last 7 days or longer, and they vary in intensity, and they affect my vision. They make me nauseous. I'm type 2 diabetic, and I'm trying to keep that under control. That's hard. That's been for the last 2-3 years. It is hard. I have GERD. I have ulcerative colitis, so I have a lot of unpleasant things. But going back to gratitude, I'm grateful that it's nothing that is life-threatening. It could be if I don't take care of it. I am very grateful that it's not worse. I am so grateful for every good day that I have, that I'm able to accomplish a lot. There are days when it's really rough, but I just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and I just talk to God. And again, I'm more spiritual than I am religious, and you just move through it. You know, I'm grateful for my children. I'm grateful for my fiance, my beautiful sister, my cats, my friends, and anybody who's been there for me. You know, there's been rough roads. I'm not bringing in an income right now because I applied for Social Security, and right now I'm in the appeals process. So, I mean, this is going on 2 years. I'm also in litigation for my accident with work, and just to address that a little bit, this is something that I didn't necessarily want to do, but unfortunately, since I got hurt at work and I can no longer work in the capacity that I used to, it was my career, it was my livelihood, so I feel that it's something that I really have to do. I'm not expecting to become a millionaire off of it. Whatever settlement I do receive, I plan to put most of that away, you know, either for my future, to help supplement some of my kids' needs as they're coming of age, different things like that. And it was a soul-searching moment for me when I decided to do that, because I loved my boss. You know, like, he's, of course, not a perfect person. None of us are. He's a very kind man. He's been very kind and good to me. He was great to work for. I love all the staff that I worked with. It was a great situation. We were very family-like. So for me to do that, it was a really hard decision, but it's something that I felt that I had to do for me and my family. So that's why. So that's been going on for almost 3 years, that whole process. Hopefully it'll be concluded in the next 6 months, I'm hoping. Um, Hopefully I won't need any more treatment on my hand in the near future. I do have a small business. I make crafts. That's not even that easy with bum hand. Like, it could take me a while to make one item, and I keep my prices very reasonable. But my sister had an accident in April, and so I've been taking care of her. She broke her knee and needed extensive surgery. So I've been her caregiver. So I had to kind of put my business to the side. That's okay. We do what we need to do for the family. So the reason why I'm explaining all of this is because, I feel like if I can be grateful for all of my blessings, given my hardships, and believe me, I know that I don't have as many hardships as some people, but I just want to bring it back to, look at our lives now as a whole, in our country. We have so much abundance, but yet sometimes we complain when we don't have something that isn't necessary. We'll complain and we'll say that we're really like poor or broke if we can't go on a really lavish, expensive vacation, if we can't get the newest car that we desire, if we can't upgrade our phone to the latest model, if we can't buy the newest gaming system or have the newest, most fashionable handbag or clothes. These are not necessities. Would they be nice to have? Of course they would, if that's what you want, if that's what makes you happy. And eventually, you might even have some of them. But some people get so down and they're so moody because they don't have these things. So I say, if you're feeling that, if the green-eyed devil in you is jealous of some of your friends that have that, that's a normal human emotion. Just don't let it take hold of you. So I tend to be happy for them if they have something like that. And I know that someday, if that's what I want, someday I'll be able to save and I'll be able to achieve that, if that's what I desire. But as far as things that are important to me, my roof, my home, food on the table, clothes on our back, bills paid, simple pleasures of life, reading a book, watching a movie or a show with my family, taking walks, going to the beach, doing a lot of things that don't cost anything. That's what I'm most grateful for. I'm also grateful that I have my children, that I have a wonderful partner. Like I said, my pets. Grateful for all of my friends, because I know it may not sound like this, but there was years that I prayed to be home with my children because I worked 2 and 3 jobs to support us. There were years that I prayed for a good partner, and I dated, not a lot, but I dated some, and for whatever reason it just never worked out, and I was heartbroken quite a bit, and it was hard. A lot of it was really hard, and even during that time I managed to muster up gratitude. Like I said, that gratitude will get you through some of the worst times in your life, and if you have, a deep religious faith, that will help you too. Like I said, I'm more spiritual, but I know that God is always with me. I know that. My mom and my dad are always with me too. They're following me and they're guiding me from heaven. And I don't want to get, like I said, too religious, because I don't want to make my channel about religion or politics. But I'm just going to lay that out there. And I know that those forces are with me and they help guide me. So I'm very grateful for that. I feel like I am sitting in a life that, in a large part, they're answered prayers. They're prayers that I prayed, and now they've been answered. Is it perfect? No. I did not intend to be home with my children because I'm disabled. but I'm home with my children. In a lot of ways, I feel like teenagers need their parents, or especially their mother, more. They need us to be here for guidance. They need us to keep an eye out for them to make sure they're not getting in any trouble. You know, they need us to be the mom taxi. Now that my sister's not working and she's older, I'm home to take care of her. And she has some special needs in addition to her disability right now. So I need to be here to take care of her. I'm able to keep up my house, and being, disabled with a bunch of other health issues, sometimes it takes me a while to get through my whole house to clean it. I have good days and bad days just like anyone else. I'm able to be even more frugal than I was before because I'm able to cook a lot from scratch. All of these things, they add up. And, am I wearing the latest designer clothes? No. Do I always get to have my hair cut? No. Do we get to go out a lot? No, but to me, those things really don't matter. If they do to you, that's fine. But for me, the fact that we're all together and we're all healthy for the most part, we have a home where so many people are struggling right now. There are a lot of people living in their cars or vehicles. I met a couple a few weeks ago, and they're living off the Henry Hudson Trail in a tent. Can you imagine? And they can't be with their children because their children are with their parents. I was heartbroken for them. I don't know the circumstances that led them to it, but I can't be judgmental because, you know what, it could happen to any of us at any time. We have food in our pantry and our freezers. That is a blessing. With the cost of groceries now, my goodness. I have health insurance. For someone like me, that's a godsend. It may not be perfect, the care that I receive, but it's care. My children have health insurance. They're healthy. Yes, they both are neurodivergent and they have their issues, but they're healthy. So many people aren't able to have children, and so many people have children that are born with severe disabilities and health issues. What a blessing it is that God gave me these two children when there was a time 17, 18 years ago where I didn't even think I would have one child. So, like I said, you have to really look at all the positives in your life. Yes, there will be days that you're down, like I said before, and I know I repeat